Welcome into the live desk. I am Janae Hancock, joined by Zac Summers. Zac, welcome back to the desk for this week's edition of Behind the Story, and with an important note of you need to be careful what you check in your luggage this holiday season, Zac, because you met a couple. I want to get into how you met them, but they kind of had a horrific experience.
Yeah, so they actually reached out to us, Kelsey and Jake, a couple who now lives in California, but they're originally from Kansas City. But they reached out to us after an experience that they claim happened after flying through KCI. And the reason why we decided to do this story is because of right now it's like peak travel season with the holidays around us. AAA expecting some nearly 8 million people to fly between now and New Year's Day. So we figured, why not just put this story out there to serve as a reminder more than anything. So essentially you had this couple who flew out of KCI back in October. They were here for some sort of sporting event. And Kelsey claims that they checked their bags through United.
Right.
And inside those checked bags was her engagement ring and a pair of diamond earrings valued at $9,000.
Yes.
And she says when they got back to California and they looked at their bags and they were unpacking, the jewelry was nowhere to be found.
And let's talk about that initial reaction. What did Kelsey tell you? Because, I mean, I'm sure that's probably the first thing she was looking for when she opened her bag.
Well, right. I mean, she was kind of dumbfounded. Like, she was shocked. She didn't know what was going on. And mind you, it's like worth understanding. According to Kelsey, she flies a lot. Obviously, she travels back and forth to Kansas City to visit family now that she lives in Cali with her husband. But she told me, like, she takes her rings off all the time when she flies because she tends to wash her hands a lot. She also says, like, her fingers get really cold and they kind of shrink up a little bit. So she's always afraid of losing her jewelry.
Right.
Ironically enough, in the process of traveling, she, in fact, no longer has that jewelry that she thought would be safe in checked baggage, but she doesn't have it.
And like you said, this is just an important note year round, but especially during this season, during the holiday season, when we expect a lot of people to be traveling starting next week. So tell us a little bit more about the process that Kelsey and Jake went through.
Yeah, so what was kind of interesting about the story, partly in raising awareness as to what you should and should not do when traveling, but just kind of like the hurdles she went back and forth with as it relates to what she did in response to having her jewelry stolen, as she claims. She did everything you're supposed to do. She filed a police report. She contacted police. She contacted the airline. Well, KCI police basically told her they kind of refused to take a report, first off.
Wow.
And then United, they pointed to their contract of carriage, which essentially says that they're absolved from any liability when it comes to jewelry. And I think that's so important that people realize United's not unique in that. Almost every airline in the United States has a similar clause. So it's just, I guess, use this as a, hey, beware, because I don't think, we don't read the fine print ever. And, obviously they were disappointed in the fact that the airline wouldn't cover it, but they were equally disappointed in KCI police and their response to this, so much so that when they didn't hear back from KCI police, they filed a open records request, or Freedom of Information Act, and asked for surveillance footage in hopes of trying to get some better understanding of like where this may have happened or how it could have happened. But then they got a response from the city's aviation department basically saying they don't have it. There's no video to be had. And here's another thing to keep in mind. The aviation department told the couple once they handed over their baggage to the airline, it was the airline's responsibility from there. So it's a cautionary tale of what you should keep in mind when traveling, and Kelsey reached out to us in hopes that somebody will think twice before putting something valuable in their checked luggage.
Helping the next person. I think that jewelry note is also important. It seems like they're really just getting the runaround with this situation. Like you said, it happened back in October, but you also spoke to a travel agent. What did she have to say?
Yeah, Kathy Sudeikis. She was great. She, it sounds simple, but she basically says if you cherish it, don't check it. Like, and jewelry is one of those things you just do not check. And you know, outside of that, a couple of other things that I think are worth noting that we included in the story are just like some tips to consider to prevent yourself from falling victim to, you know, theft or stolen items. One of the things that you should do is document your belongings, but obviously never put valuables inside your suitcase. But a couple other things, or this one I thought was kind of interesting. When it comes to your luggage, if you are going to check luggage, find some kind of unique or distinctive luggage, because apparently thieves, if they are going to target you, and this ends up on the carousel or something like that, because let me back up. The city and the police, basically the reason why they didn't end up taking a report is because they ended up pointing to the fact that they couldn't pinpoint if it actually happened at KCI. This couple also had a layover after the fact, and they said it could have happened at their destination. So in thinking about, you know, your luggage, back to that point, picking something that's like unique and distinctive, even if you put like some colored tape on your luggage.
I was going to say like the color of your luggage or a tag on it.
Or just something that makes it stand out, because apparently thieves, they're more likely to go after the bland luggage that looks like, you know, everything else versus something that stands out.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I know most people try and get something a little bit more unique because they're trying to find their...
or you do the mistake like me and you're trying to find the most bland thing. But
yeah, that's me.
I'm like, just, I don't want to be flashy. I don't want to do, no, but that's kind of what you should do, because then apparently like the thieves aren't as prone to take that, because it stands out among the rest. But the fourth thing that you could do is maybe not check your bags.
Right, yeah.
Pack lightly. I know when I travel, I make a point. I mean, I was in Europe for 2 weeks last month, or 2 months ago, and I only had a carry-on.
Ooh, wow.
And I know that sounds crazy. I did it because I just, you know, there's just so many unknowns when it comes to when you check that bag.
Especially during the holiday season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to get lost. I don't want it to get stolen. So I just try to pack what I need and try to carry it with me on the plane.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I just spoke to Nick Shiberia with AAA at the beginning of this week, and he said the same thing. Try not to check your luggage if you don't have to. And then we're hearing the same thing from a travel agent and also from this couple. So how does the couple move forward? Are they just trying to replace their engagement ring at this point, or
so I mean, they've basically, the airline has basically said, we're sorry, hate that happened, and they offered like a small like $100, $150 voucher, if you will.
Oh wow, okay.
So they did, but that's, I mean, remember, this jewelry is valued at $9,000. So what they're doing now is, and this is what you should do, is they've contacted their credit card and insurance companies to see if they might help replace some of those, or help with the cost of those stolen items. So, but more than anything, you know, the couple, they told me, you know, we feel like we're probably never going to get our items back, but they really just wanted to share their story. So the next person who might be packing a bag and might think, oh, my jewelry is going to be safe, just think twice before doing that, and keep it with you instead of putting it in that checked bag.
And I think it even goes past the jewelry. I mean, anything that really has
if
value
it's important
to you, you definitely want to keep it close to you. I learned that from my grandmother. I always keep my close belongings next to me. And it seems like we have some people here on our stream as well that are saying the same thing. Definitely carry your valuables with you. Zac, where can we see this story in full?
Yeah, well, the story lives online right now. You can watch it on KCTV5.com. It will also air tonight at 10.
Awesome. We want to direct our viewers there right now. KCTV5.com. Zac Summers joining me here at the live desk for Behind the Story. Thanks again, Zac.
Thank you.